Welcome back to Soarbox. We're continuing to talk about prayer, and we're going to start today talking about some prayer blockers, things that hinder our prayers. And our verse is from Psalm 66:18, and it says, "If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear." And I believe that word iniquity means to protect our sin. It means, God, I know this sin is in my life, but you know what? You can't touch this. This is mine, and I'm going to hold on to that. When we do that, the Bible tells us God's not going to listen to our requests and to our prayers. It doesn't mean we don't struggle. It doesn't mean that we may not even be struggling with some strongholds in our lives, and we're honest before God. We're asking for His help, and we're working through it, and He's helping us. But it does mean that if we're going to be stubborn and say, you know what, God, can't have this, then our prayers are definitely going to be hindered, and that's definitely going to be a prayer blocker. I want to share a few verses from Psalms. King David was a man that God says was a man after His own heart, but as we know, King David not only committed adultery, but committed murder to cover up the adultery. And here's something he said in Psalm 38:18. He says, "I confess my iniquity, and I am sorry for my sin." The first thing we need to recognize when we have sinned against God, and we come to Him in prayer, so we need to confess it. We don't need to hide it. We don't need to pretend like it's no big deal. We need to confess it before God. In Psalm 51:2, David went on to say, "Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin." So not only did he need to confess his sin, he needed to ask God's forgiveness. John 1:9 says, if we confess our sins, He is just and able to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. But down in Psalm 119:133, David went a little bit further. He said, "Keep steady my steps according to your promise, and let no iniquity get dominion over me." So he confessed his sin, he asked God to cleanse him from his sin, and then he was wise enough to ask God to keep him from allowing sin to get a hold of him again. And that is a good process for us to follow in dealing with sin. I hope you will just continue to be open with God, to be honest with God where you are right now. He already knows. You might as well come clean with Him. Be honest with Him. Ask Him for His help to overcome the things in your life that may be blocking your prayers and hindering your walk with Jesus Christ. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you'll keep coming back. I sure enjoyed talking to you. We'll see you tomorrow.